We do have the EPC Warriors on stage here. Coach Brandon Powell is MIA today. We'll just say he's on vacation right now. But we have two of his assistants here today. Coach Chamberlain, if you would, just give us an opening statement about this football team, and expectations are pretty high going into the 2019 football season.
Yeah, we have quite a bit returning from last year. We were pretty young last year. We had a lot of sophomores that had to step in and immediately play starting roles. So a lot of those guys are more experienced this year. And we had some key ninth graders move up. So expectations are pretty high. We've got a lot of skill guys. We're still, working out who's going to fit best where. But the talent level is at probably the highest it's been in the past 2 or 3 years. We had pretty good numbers in the spring and pretty good turnout in the summer so far. We did a lot of 7-on-7 pad camps, things like that. So the kids have been putting in a lot of work. So expectations are pretty high as of right now going into the season.
I know Hooten's well-respected magazine has picked you guys to win the conference. It's a loaded question or statement, I guess.
Yeah, which that'd be great. We've been in the mix the past few years, so of course that's always the ultimate goal, is to go out there and win the conference. But we're going to have a lot to deal with. McCrory's going to be good. Salem's going to be good. Marktree's always going to put up a good fight against us, stuff like that. Rector's greatly improved. They're going to be tough to handle. So I can't sit there and say that we're going to do that, but that's definitely the goal, and that's the expectations we have going into the season, is to come out at the end as conference champs.
And I'll let either one of you guys start talking a little bit about the offense, and then we'll transition to defense, and whoever wants to talk about each one can do that.
Like I said, we have a lot of skill guys. It's still, a lot of that skill talent's relatively young, so we're hoping that it's ready to go right away, and it should be, because those guys that are moving up from ninth grade, they're going to be sophomores this year. They got some reps last year when it come playoff time, and they stepped in and made impacts for us. A lot of our skill last year was sophomores. They're going to be juniors. They're a year stronger, a year more experienced. Preston Raines, our quarterback, he's only a junior this year, but be his third year starting quarterback for senior high. We got Rayshon Gates returning, who was an 1,100-yard rusher last year. So that's always going to be good. We got a lot of guys we can throw the ball to, a lot of guys we can hand the ball to, and we feel like we got a pretty good group up front this year blocking for them and making those running lanes.
And the defense.
Defensively, I can't really say that we're a set team in any type of formation. We come out in a 4-3, but every week when we watch film, we make adjustments according to what's going to be best for that week. If you're playing a run-heavy team, we may go a 5 front. If you're playing a pass-heavy team, we may drop a linebacker back and play 2 safeties. So we're based probably a 4-3, but we'll make whatever adjustments we have to give the best look on Friday night. And if we start out in a 5-3, that's not to say that we're going to be a 4-4 or a 4-3 by the time the game's over with.
Coach, if you would introduce your two players you got there with you today.
Here with us, we got senior LaDavion Holmes. He'll be an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman for us. And we got Gavin Constant, and he'll play wide receiver and just about every defensive back position there is.
So, guys, with that being said, obviously you play on both sides of the ball. LaDavion, if you would just kind of talk about that and, embracing a role as one of the key players on this team.
Well, I think my leadership skills are very good, and our team, we have I think our most advantage over a lot of teams going to play this year is our strength and our speed. Well, yeah.
Gavin, you're as he said, will be at a receiver position. You've got a really good quarterback, an all-state candidate in Preston Raines throwing to you. Talk about making plays for him and scoring some touchdowns.
He can put the ball on the money anytime. He's got that accuracy. And I just run the route, really, and he just puts it on the money.
Go back down to the coaching staff. We talked defensively. We'll talk defensively first. How much fun is it for you? You have some talent in the bank right now, but because of that, you mentioned multiple fronts, multiple schemes. Do you throw them at the house? Are you able to roll the dice a lot more as far as blitzes and stunts and all that?
You know, it's great to have guys that can play every position. It's great to have guys, and it's great because we know and they know that if they take a play off, if they don't do something right, we got somebody that we can put in there that gives us just as good of an opportunity. So I think because of that, we are able to roll the dice, and we are able to play a lot more fronts with better expectations and with a better outcome, because we have guys that if they don't do something right, we're going to make changes automatically. They know that. And it doesn't matter if we got 14 guys or 28 guys on the roster. If they do something wrong, we got somebody that's ready to step up and go in and make a statement.
Okay, Coach, so we'll switch it over to offense. Offense, you're in the same situation. You do have some weapons. Mentioned the offensive line ought to be pretty good. But because of that, what do you hang your hat on offensively as far as the Warrior attack?
Well, I mean, really, we're pretty balanced. That's our goal, is to be able to both run the ball and throw the ball pretty equally. But, you know, when you got a guy returning like Rayshon Gates, who, like I said, rushed for over 1,100 yards last year, you lean on somebody like him. And then we have the other weapons like Gavin and Deuce Moore. And we got a kid named Tate Taylor this year who is one of the most athletic people we've had since we've been there as a staff together. So you lean on Gates, and then you let him open things up for Preston to make things happen with his arm.
Coach, you mentioned a conference run and that being one of your goals, a very obtainable goal. But I look for the Warriors to make a run in the state playoffs. Because of that, a lot of times it'll hinge on special teams. Talk to us about your kicking and punting and return games.
Our return games should be good. Like I said, we've got some athletes that can make people miss, and that's big in the return game. If you got somebody that's hard to tackle in space, that's going to go a long way. The kicking game, the punting game, we've got a few kids that can, you know, kick the ball and punt the ball. We haven't decided on anybody for certain yet. That'll be something we kind of figure out early in the summer camp. But we've got multiple kids that are capable of getting the job done like we need them to.
LaDavion, I believe most of your snaps last year were spent on the defensive side of the line. You've made the transition back in the spring over to the offensive line. What's been the biggest challenge of going from one side of the ball to the other?
Well, to be honest with you, nothing really, because earlier when I played like in ninth grade and stuff, like I was on the offensive line, so it really ain't a big change for me. Like I'm a really fast learner too. I can pick up, and I just bring the energy for the rest of the guys to do what they need to do and help them out whatever they need.
So what do you like better, protecting a quarterback or hitting a quarterback?
Protecting both.
Both? All right. Coach, you mentioned earlier expectations returning to Poinsett County and the Warriors and everything. You guys go in with the target on the back this year, and coach or players, either one, you guys can answer this. What's the feeling around the team, as far as having that target on the back, knowing that everybody in the conference is gunning for you because you were picked first?
To me, and I think the guys feel the same way, it's a good feeling to have expectations. When you come into the year without expectations, it is extremely hard to get guys and even coaches sometimes bought in. They'll get to thinking, why are we here? So I love the mentality, and whether we're picked first or not, every year, like he said, we come out with the goal that we want to win a conference championship. We want to make a state playoff run, whether we got guys that other people think we can do it with or not. Every year the feeling at EPC is that we got a group that we're going to make a run with, and we instill that in our guys, we instill that in our coaches, and we try to let that carry over year to year. So whether we get picked first by Hootens or anybody else, every year at EPC we feel like we're making a run.
So last year you guys got off to a really hot start, won 6 of your first 7, and then things kind of took a 180 on you to close out the season with 4 straight losses. What would you say is the biggest takeaway, either on the field or maybe in the film room or something, looking back over that? What could you take away from that and bring into this year to maybe see that maybe the 4-game losing streak to close out the season doesn't happen again?
Last year, a lot of that had to do, we had a lot of guys going down towards the end of the year, injuries, things like that. Just little nagging stuff that wasn't anything serious, but it was enough to keep them out of the games. And it was a lot of key positions where that was happening. So this year, we're a lot deeper than we were last year. So we're hoping that depth, we can have guys ready to play multiple positions. And if we have those guys go down, we can shift stuff around and avoid the problems that we run into late in the season last year, where we didn't have the depth to recover from the amount of injuries that we were having that were, hurting us down the stretch of the year last year.
Coach, either one of you would just give a closing statement in regard to the 2019 football season.
Just like all football seasons, we know that the 2019 season will come with its struggles, but we know that we got a group of leaders, we got a good group of senior leaders, and we got a group of guys that's going to go out every Friday night and be ready to fight. And I think we're lucky as coaches to know we have that, and we got those guys coming in working every single day, and we're going to get with it this summer, and we're going to get with it this fall, and hopefully we're going to establish something at EPC that will continue to last for many football seasons to come.